Hey everyone, and welcome back. So today we're going to be reviewing MELONIZARD on the Nintendo Switch. Now this game is being presented by the developer as a 2D action-adventure game where stealth is at the forefront, and it currently sells for $3.99 on the Nintendo Switch eShop. The game is being published by Weakfish Studios, and it has a download size of 314 megabytes. Now the first thing we're going to do today is answer what the heck is a MELONIZARD, and number two, we're going to see if this game is worth your time or money. Now don't forget, if you are enjoying the video, hit that like button. So once again today, we're jumping straight into the gameplay, because there really is no storyline presented throughout this game. However, after a couple of levels, you'll quickly figure out why this game is called MELONIZARD. And the reason why is that you are playing a lizard, whose reward for reaching the end of each and every level is a slice of watermelon. Hence, MELONIZARD. Personally, I find it an odd choice for the title of the game, but you know what? It makes sense once you start playing. So now with Mystery 1 solved, let's start talking about that gameplay. However, ultimately, that is pretty much the description of the sole purpose of the game. You are dropped into a level, you have to find your way to the end of the level where you collect a slice of watermelon. Now the game is offering 22 different levels separated into 3 different biomes. Each different biome will introduce a different set of obstacles separating you from your objective at the end of the level, and as you progress within each biome, the obstacles will become more and more challenging. Now controls in the game are extremely simple, where you can move your lizard around the screen either using the joystick or the D-pad. However, his regular movement speed will be quite slow, and you can hold down the R button to get him to run. Lastly, as I pointed to earlier, when you're near an obstacle that you can hide behind, you can press the X button to do so, and then press it again to exit the hiding space. Now, an additional feature to take advantage of is that when you are hidden, you can actually have a wider range of view to see what the upcoming obstacles are. So when it's your first time loading into a level, it's good to take a few extra seconds to get a lay of the land. Now, hiding within these different objects is what the game is presenting as a stealth aspect. For example, the first set of levels will have you making your way around various bird creatures, all the while escaping their field of view by hiding behind bushes. The second set of levels will ultimately have you doing the exact same thing, however, with the addition of polar bears that will wake up if you run for an extended period of time, therefore forcing you to alternate between walking and running to make it to your next hiding spot. And lastly, the desert levels at the end of the game will use both of these elements with the addition of windstorms, forcing you to time your movements in between each blast of wind, because if you aren't under cover when that wind arrives, you'll be blown away and automatically fail the level. There's also occasionally a side objective where you have to rebuild a bridge within the level. There will be a part of the bridge hidden somewhere, you have to collect it and bring it back to the bridge to be able to progress. So now that we have a general idea of how the gameplay flows, let's talk about what I think about it. Now first of all, this game is extremely simple. And if you're an experienced gamer, you'll most likely be able to finish this game fairly rapidly. For me, it was easily under 45 minutes. And I also have a problem with this game being called an action-adventure game. With such linear and set levels, there is really no adventuring here. And I would say that this game has a lot more in common with an action puzzle game. Also, although there is an increase in difficulty, most of that increase in difficulty comes at the expense of a lot of frustration. Because it's not that the puzzles really get all that more complex or require you to figure them out, it's that the timing required between each and every action becomes tighter and tighter as the game progresses. Now, in and of itself, I would not have a problem with this. However, the responsiveness of the controls doesn't live up to what the game is asking of you. The movement of the character almost seems grid-based, but in multiple occasions, diagonals feel required. And most of my failure throughout the levels didn't really come in me not knowing what actions I needed to place, but with the controls just not responding in the way I wanted. Also, many of the last levels in the game require you to backtrack through the same puzzles, however in the reverse order, which did make the actions throughout a lot of those last levels feel very repetitive. Now, in and of itself, the game is presenting some pretty decent and interesting ideas. However, the implementation and the execution of them is slightly lacking. So ultimately, on the gameplay side, I found this game very shallow. Now, if we jump into the graphics and sound, well, to be honest, there isn't much to say here. Graphically, once again, the game is very simple pixel art. However, in my opinion, not in a charming way in this case. I mean, all the assets throughout the gameplay feel very generic here. There is a nice use of color and contrast, and there is a different design within each biome. However, mostly these are palette swaps. And personally, although I love a really good pixel art game, here it feels more like lazy design. And sound-wise, it is pretty much the exact same story. It's a very simple and basic package. And even throughout the first biome, there isn't even any actual music, with rather a sort of white noise background sound. Then you get a separate track for each one of the two following biomes. And once again, both these different tracks felt very generic. Now we come to the verdict, and if this is the first time watching one of my reviews, my full review scale is available down below in the description of the video. And in the case of MELONIZARD on the Nintendo Switch, I'm going to be giving the game a 4.5, putting it at the high end of a getting rough game. Now I do have to say, there were no major bugs with the gameplay, and overall all the levels do function. However, there seemed to be a serious lack of inspiration in this game, and as I pointed to throughout the whole review, it just ended up feeling very generic. And I do understand that this is an extremely budget game being launched at a $4 price point. However, even at that low price point, the competition has become extremely fierce on the Nintendo Switch eShop. And you can easily pick up an amazing game at under $5. And this one really doesn't fit into that category. I mean, I could see this game as an okay pickup for introducing a brand new gamer to basic gaming concepts. So now I want to hear from all of you. Let me know what you thought of the game and today's review in the comments down below. And don't forget, on the way out, if you did like the review, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and click on the notification bell so you know when all my future content comes out. And as usual, I hope I'll see you in my next video.